Hey, so obviously posting a little bit later tonight. There is a very good reason to that, but we will get to that. Um, I did say I wouldn't be by the campfire every night. Apparently, God knew that the very next night I wouldn't be able to be by the campfire and post a good video, so glad I listed it ahead of time. I hope you guys had a great Sunday. It was a very, very restful Sunday for me. I'm starting to think every day is going to be a little bit restful, but you know, just to start off what happened with my day. Last night, before I went to bed, felt like God was telling me that I should go to church the next day. Since it is Sunday and I am not that far from the city, there's plenty of churches I could go to. I honestly wasn't that sure going into this whether I'd be able to walk and go to my car and stuff. I literally knew nothing about fasting. I didn't know how weak I was going to be. Turns out after a few days you just stop feeling the hunger pains and you just feel normal again, but a little bit skinnier and no crunchy munchies throughout the day, which I do kind of miss the crunchy munchies, not gonna lie. But hey, give and take. So anyways, got to go to church this morning, and I'll delve into that a little bit more later too. But after that, I went for a swim. I'll delve into more of that too. Did some laundry and did some drawing. Not delving into that. You guys are never gonna see my drawings, hopefully. But yeah, it had some good conversations today too. It was just an all-around very good day. Not a lot of time to even think about the fact that I wasn't eating, so it was nice. One nice thing I will say though, when I went to go to church, got in my car, drove out of the campground, realized I forgot my V8, and I was fine. I would have been fine. I could have just had my V8 when I came back, but at this point it's a ritual. That is my breakfast. If I don't get my V8 in the morning, what am I doing? So I started to panic just a tiny bit, and God immediately brought to mind how much I love Smoothie King and how much of a liquid product a smoothie is. So I could easily go get a smoothie and not break my fast. So I went to Smoothie King and I got a smoothie and then went on to church. It was honestly such a blessing. Smoothie didn't really fill me up all that much, but it was just nice to have. It reminded me of, I don't know, having smoothies when I was also able to have food, I guess. But whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and dive in, just because when it comes to the God moments I had today, moments is an understatement. Insane. But fun fact of the day, I am left-handed. However, I am stronger in my right hand than I am in my left. So my right arm does all of the heavy lifting. My left arm does all of the finesse work. I'm kind of trying to train them to go crossways. I started with shaving with my right hand, got a few cuts. It's a process. Trying to lift more heavy weights with my left hand. You guys don't need to know all that. I just want to be ambidextrous. I wasn't born with it, so I'm trying to earn it, but yeah. That's my fun fact. My song, you guys are really gonna hate all my music choices. I swear eventually I'm gonna have good taste in music. No offense to the artist today. I absolutely love this artist. His name is Rozen, R-O-Z-E-N. It's mostly an instrumental artist. Will redo popular video game music. Every now and then a movie or a TV show. If they have really popular music, he'll redo it in his own way. So he has some of my favorite games Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. He redid almost all of the songs. It's beautiful. The ones I was listening to specifically today while I was drawing were it's Fire Emblem Three Houses music. Most people don't really like those games. I love those games, but more than that, I love the music. So being able to listen to the music while drawing, incredible. Um, but yeah, that's my song artist of the day. I know it wasn't a specific song, but really just the whole album with the Fire Emblem. I listened to it a few times today, so really good. I did not write down a God moment today because I figured I would let God do the talking. And I'm just now remembering I forgot to pray and ask God to do the talking, so I hope He knows my heart in this. But just to give you a brief breakdown, for church today, I went to a church. I can't really list. I can't name the church, but it's a larger church. It's a church that has multiple campuses, and I went into it kind of thinking, well, I've been to large churches before. They're all about growing their numbers. They're all about the money. Like, it's not. I don't really know if God's going to be there. So that was kind of the attitude I went into it with. I walked into the service kind of looking around at everybody, thinking like, ooh, who's going to come up and talk to me? Like, I'm by myself. I clearly have a visitor's pass right now. Like, is anybody going to come up and say hi to me, or is anybody going to show the love of Christ? That was the wrong mentality to have. That is not why God asked me to go to church. He asked me to go to church so that I could fellowship, not necessarily fellowship, but worship within a congregation, be able to worship within the fellowship of everybody else, and just be able to glorify God. That was why God called me to church that day. Not only that, that's what church is. We are called to go to church to glorify God. It is not a social status. It is not however many people are in the congregation, whether people come up and greet you. I didn't talk to anybody either, so it wasn't exactly like I was being all holier than thou. Anyways, once God brought that to mind, that I really just needed to be focusing on Him, not focusing on everybody else, everything shifted. We sang about 4 songs. Songs that I hadn't really heard before, but they were very stereotypical, like, God is holy, I want to be in the throne room worshiping Him, like, I am lesser, He is greater, all of that. Normally, I have a really hard time actually praising in a church service because I'm too busy thinking, like, I don't know if I should, like, hold out my hands, like, are the people next to me really holding out their hands, like, what's going on? But God just kept bringing to mind that I needed to be looking at Him full in the face. Him being God. I needed to be looking at God through this, not looking at everybody else. I was there for God, not for the other people. And the more that came to mind, the more I was able to let go of myself. I was in my own way, but I was able to get out of my way and look God full in the face and just worship Him. And when that happened, everything else drifted away. I was aware of the people next to me, but I didn't care what they were doing. I was crying, I was singing off tune, mind you. Off tune? Off key. Just very, very out of it, but also very present. And, hold on, there's an ant. A big ant. I don't really like ants, not in my tent at least. He's on my fan, by the way. Really cool fan. My mom got this for me before I left. That's a different story, another time. I lost the ant. I got distracted. Probably gonna swallow it tonight. Oh, there it is. I think I got it. Oh, I got it. Alright. Anyways. What's it saying? Oh yeah, God. But yeah, so just great praise session, great sermon. The preacher actually had to preach from a different campus, which 30 minutes ago Ben would have been all like, oh, that's ridiculous. He's not even present. No, God actually worked incredibly through the sermon as well. made me cry a couple times. Again, my emotions so fragile right now. I'm amazed I'm not crying right now, even just recalling it. But God works in mysterious ways. But yeah, amazing time. So anyways, I get back home, home being this, and it's kind of hot. I wanted to go swimming, so I threw on my swim trunks when I got home, changed out my church clothes, and there's this guy that's camping next to me, and he's been there since I got here. He and I have had a couple exchanges back and forth, not a lot. He's this bigger, gruffer, kind of guy you don't want to meet in the middle of like the night in a back alley kind of guy. But he offered me coffee at one point. I offered him some energy drinks at one point. We talked about how the rain was good, typical man conversations. But anyways, I was walking to the pool. I had to walk past his campground, and he looked up and he said, "Ooh, you're going to the pool?" And I said, "Yeah, it's a good day for it." And I just kept walking. Went to the pool, swam a little bit, started to read, and then I just heard someone behind me, like in the pool behind me, and I hadn't seen anybody come in. I'm reading in the pool, mind you. I keep my books dry and everything, but I like to read in the pool. But I just hear someone behind me in the pool. So I take my time, I finish my page, close my book, take out my earbuds, also have them in the pool. I'm living life on the edge, guys. I don't know what I'm doing. I turned around, and there he was. And he was just staring at me. I'm like, okay. But he was like, "You were right. It's a good day for swimming." I was like, "Yeah." So we just started, shooting the shit, just talking about all these random things. Next thing I know, I mentioned that I'm fasting for 40 days. It just kind of came up. I don't even know what led to it. I mentioned it. He said, "Well, did you pray before you started fasting?" And I said, "I haven't stopped praying." Thinking like that's where the conversation's gonna end. Let me tell you, I was wrong. We stood in that pool for a solid hour to an hour and a half talking about God, just every aspect of God. This man, not even convinced he's of this earth. I'm not gonna actually say that definitively. He gave me plenty of stories from his childhood, so either he was lying to me or he wasn't. I don't know. But whatever the case, God brought him into my life today. He gave me a lot of encouragement. I can't even begin to narrow down the different things that we talked about, but God made it very intentional that he brought this man into my life. But anyways, like I said, we talked for like an hour and a half. Storm clouds started to roll in, so it was the time to get out of the pool. I was kind of relieved. I'm not the most social person, so I was kind of itching to get out, even though I love talking about God. I was like, kind of drained. So I went, did some laundry, did some drawing while it was storming, and then I came back, and I was just cleaning out my coffee mug, and right as I went to clean out the coffee mug, which is kind of near his campsite, he wakes up from his nap and gets out of his tent just by happenstance. We lock eyes and just pick right back up on our conversation. I stood there by the water spout for a while. He stood by his picnic table for a while, probably about 20 minutes. And then finally, he just invited me over to his picnic table. And as the sun set, it wasn't even starting to set when we started talking. But we talked until the sun was down. Just about God, about life. He was very encouraging of where I'm at in my life. Shared a lot of his own life experiences. I wish I could have written things down that he told me. Advice, things to go to God about, ways to talk to God, ways to view God that I have known as a believer, but had forgotten in the deadness of my sin. God brought this man into my life. And beyond that, he wasn't even supposed to be here today. He had an issue with the apartment he was moving into and had to extend his stay a couple days. If he hadn't extended his stay, never would have even known that man was a believer. God is good. So, yeah, I guess that's my God moment of the day. It's the whole day, basically, minus the drawing. Again, wasn't too impressed with that. But one other thing about that. Like I said, I didn't have my V8. I did have that smoothie. That was great. I was still pretty hungry. My stomach was growling going into the second half of our conversation. The second we started talking, I forgot I was hungry. And I walked away from that conversation feeling full. Not just not hungry. I felt full. Granted, it didn't last long. I went and I got ready for bed. By the time I got back out, I was starting to get a little grumbly again. But even just a moment, having not eaten for 4 days, to even have a moment where I just felt content through talking about God, content through the Spirit. God is good. But I'm going long on this video. There was a lot to say. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot to say in a lot more days because clearly God is doing something incredible and I can't wait to keep sharing it with you guys. But in the meantime, have a wonderful night. Sleep well. Mind over matter. God over mind. I love you guys. Stay safe.